1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dear students, welcome for today's session. Good morning. Before we start, we'd like to remind you of the assessment form at the end of the session. And we'd like to tell you that our supporting team of teachers are ready to answer all your inquiries and questions. Welcome back to English 101, New Language Leader, Level 1, First Semester, First Secondary, Unit 4, Lesson Number 1, Medicine Around the World, Part B. Let's start with our objective for today. So by the end of the lesson, students will have revised the present perfect in all forms and learnt more about the time expressions used with it. Look at our first activity. Read the following sentences and underline the actions in each sentence. You've got 1 minute to go through these 4 sentences and try to figure out the actions. Okay, so let's look at these sentences and identify the actions in each one. Number 1, I've just spent hours to prepare for the exam. The action in this sentence is have just spent. Number 2, she started planning for her trip to Dublin in spring. The action in this sentence is started. Number 3, so far, in my time as a student, I've already participated in 50 operations. And the action is have already participated. Number 4, last year, I took part in the Health Awareness Award. and the action is took. Now, note that action verbs, also called dynamic verbs, express an action whether it be physical or mental. An action verb explains what the subject of the sentence is doing or has done. And here are some common examples of action verbs: act, agree, arrive, build, call, climb, fall, fix, give, kick, etc. Now, what are the present perfect uses? The present perfect tense is common in English. It is used for many different functions. Number one, actions which started in the past and are still continuing. The present perfect is used for an action that started at some time in the past and still continuing now. In this case, the words for with the length or period of time and since with a specific starting time are usually used with the present perfect. For example, he has lived in Bahrain for 5 years. This sentence means he started living in Bahrain 5 years ago and he's still living there now. Example 2 about since. She has worked at the university since 1994. That means she started working at the university in 1994 and she's working there now. This is the first use of the present perfect. What about the next one? Number 2. Actions. Single actions or repeated actions which happened at some unknown time in the past. We can use the present perfect to say that something happened or didn't happen, but it's not important or not known when it happened. In this case, we often use the words already, yet or not yet, ever or never, along with the present perfect form. These words usually go in front of the past participle. Look at the example. I've already seen that film. I don't want to see it again. In this sentence, it doesn't matter when I saw the film. The focus is not on time. It is on the action itself. Another example. Have you ever been to Dubai? In this question, it doesn't matter when you went. I'm not asking about the time. I just want to know whether you have been there or not. Third example. They have eaten at that restaurant many times. This is a repeated past actions but when they ate there isn't important. Now, I'll give you 1 minute to just write down any notes you'd like to write, or you can screenshot this screen. Okay, dear students, let's continue the uses of the present perfect. Number 3. We use the present perfect for actions which happened in the past but have an effect in the present. In this case, the action happened at some time in the past but the effect of the action is still important now. It is the easiest, or it is easiest to understand this use if we compare present perfect sentences with simple past sentences. Have a look at the table below for further explanation. If we look at the first situation here, in the present perfect form, I can say this sentence, I've lost my glasses. This sentence means I don't have the glasses. They are still missing. So this is the effect of the action. It is still important now. But if you look at the simple past sentence, I lost my glasses yesterday. The meaning of this sentence is I didn't have them yesterday, but maybe today I found them. There is no present effect, so I used the simple past sentence. The second situation, she's broken her arm, means her arm is still injured or broken. You can see the effect. But if you use it in the simple past and said she broke her arm, the arm is probably okay now. Now you can have 1 minute to write down any notes or just screenshot this page. We would like to thank some excellent students for their positive participation in the chatting box. Muhammad Isa Muhammad, Ziyad Muhammad Mahmoud, Hussein Masoud Haji, Jasim Qaisar Rashid, Turki Abdullah Yusuf, Umar Majdi Muhammad Sulaiman, Lutfi Saeed Lutfi, Umar Wael Ibrahim, and Faisal Khalid. Thank you very much for your attention. Okay, now how do we form the present perfect? Can you formulate the rule? What is the correct form of the present perfect tense? Let's give you 1 minute to discuss the formula in the chat box. Okay, let's look at the rules. So, we form the present perfect with have and the past participle of the verb. And the past participle of the verb for regular verbs are infinitive plus the ed. However, for the irregular verbs, it is in the third column of the table of the irregular verbs. Hopefully, most of you can recognize most of the verbs or most of the common verbs in the irregular forms. Now, what about have? If you're talking about the third person singular, he or she or it, you would use has. But for all other forms with I, they, you, we, or any plural nouns, you would say have. Now, what about the affirmative sentence in the present perfect for regular verbs? Let's look at the examples. You can say I, you, we, or they have opened the door. Or if you're talking about the third person singular, he, she, or it has opened the door. Since open is a regular verb, the third form or the past participle of it ends with ed. However, when we've got an irregular verb, the affirmative sentence in the present perfect would look like this. I, you, we, or they have gone home. Or he, she, or it has gone home. So here it should be has gone home. What about the negative sentence in the present perfect with regular verbs? We can say I, you, we, or they have not opened the door, or haven't opened the door. He, she, or it has not opened the door, or hasn't opened the door. For the negative sentences with irregular verbs, it would look like this. I, you, we, or they have not gone home, or haven't gone home. He, she, or it has not gone home, or hasn't gone home. What about the questions? In questions with the present perfect regular verbs, the question is like this. Have I, or you, or we, or they opened the door? Or has he, she, or it opened the door? For questions with the irregular verbs, have I gone home? Has she gone home? So now look at these rules again. Try to write down any notes or just screenshot this. Okay, dear students, now let's have some activities and exercises regarding the present perfect form. The first exercise. Which of the following time expressions can you use with the present perfect? Have a look at them carefully and try to recognize which ones we can use with the present perfect. Okay, dear students, let's check the answers. The time expressions which can be used for the present perfect are this year, today, ever, in the last few days, never, this week, so far, and to date. You can copy these expressions quickly. Now, let's look at another exercise. With the use of for or since in the present perfect. Read these sentences and try to put the correct word. Do we use for or since? Okay, dear students, more excellent of you. Let's have some names. Abdurrahman Muhammad Saeed, Muhammad Isa, Lutfi Saeed again, Hassan Ali Saeed Fatil, Abbas Fadil Abbas Hilal, Thamir Taha Muhammad Naham, and Ali Hussein Ali Ahmed. Well done. Thank you. Now, let's look at the correct answers. Number 1. My father has been to London for a week. Number 2. I haven't seen my uncle for ages. Number 3. They have studied French for 5 years. And number 4. I haven't phoned my grandfather since last Friday. And number 5. Nasser hasn't ridden a bike since he was 12. Now, look at these sentences. Try to choose the correct time expressions used with the present perfect. Read each sentence and try to circle the correct one. Okay, dear students, let's look at the correct answers. Number 1. They haven't finished their homework yet. Number 2. My mom has already made my birthday cake. Number 3. Have you ever ridden an elephant? Number 4. I have sent out 10 emails so far. Number 5. Kamal just lost or has just lost his keys. He looks nervous. Number 6. The girl has started some fitness class lately. Or some fitness classes lately. Now, let's have more practice about the difference between the present perfect or past simple. Use the verb in the correct form. Okay, dear students, thank you for your participation. Excellent students. Sufyan Mansour, Muhammad Ali Abdullah Madan, Ahmed Ja'far, Abdullah Muhammad Shams, Saud Yunus Abdul Qadir, and Ziad Muhammad Mahmoud Al-Zahir. Thank you all for your participations. Now, let's look at the model answers. Number 1. In the last few weeks alone, doctors have operated almost 100 operations. Number 2. So far this year, doctors have completed tests for almost 1,000 homeless people worldwide. Number 3. In 1951, the health and education of children in Australia became a priority for Save the Children branches across the country. Number 4. This year, volunteers have helped kids with type 1 diabetes to learn how to manage their diabetes in a safe and fun environment. And number 5, residents in 2 villages in the desert haven't received any food supplies this week as the drought continues. Now, let's look at our last exercise. Look at these sentences. Make the present perfect. Choose positive, negative, or questions? You've got 6 minutes to do this exercise. Then we'll look at the model answers. Okay, dear students, it seems that we're running out of time. Let's look at the model answers. Look at the model answers. You can screenshot this screen or print screen or capture it, and later you can go through your answers and assess your sentences. Thank you very much for your attention. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.